I think when one talks about community and art, particularly within an American art historical context, you're very often talking about an allegiance of a couple of different things. One of them is social alienation, and another is aesthetic production. Those things are intrinsically bound together, and I think to imagine that they're not, or to imagine that that's only a 20th century construction is nonsense. Certainly modernism may have focused us more directly on that, but that's not what it's about. San Francisco, turn of the century, you have, coming out of the suffragette movement, an enormous number of women going to art school and coming out as painters in particular at the end of the 19th century. I mean, this is a gigantic public campaign. You have, I think it was on Polk Street, a building in San Francisco where a group of women painters, many of whom are really quite good, lived, worked. They happened to be, for the most part, lesbians, but they weren't necessarily all lesbians. But you have a collective environment there. The perception in that situation, I think what made that situation so successful, is that these women within those walls, and there was enough space for them to move around. It's not just within the walls of one's own home, which is what all of us have. But within the walls of that building, that extended community, they felt safe enough to risk all kinds of things, to play in different ways than they would have played, but also very excited. I mean, why do we do this? I mean, we do what we do because we want to have all kinds of different places to inhabit. That's why we do it. And in this situation, it's kind of like the blue screen behind me. You can project anything onto it you want, and in a given instance, you can produce any scenario you want. As long as you have enough conspirators, then you can make that world that you kind of have constructed in your head into a materialized reality. Now, it's a materialized abstract reality in the same way that a painting might be, in the same way that a piece of writing is. It only exists because of the concession of a group of people within their imaginations to bring it to life. I use that as an example because I think that's what Hudson offers, is in a certain sense, it's large enough, and at the same time, it's almost like being in a medieval wall. You know, we're on a hill, we have the marsh on either side.
My name is Maddie, and I am Vice President of Animal Kind Incorporated, which is a not-for-profit trap, neuter, and return organization. Trap, neuter, and return means that we help people with outside, feral, or stray cats. We provide traps to trap them. We help them get neutered through low-cost methods, and then the cats are returned to where they live to begin with, where we hope that the people will continue feeding them. Animal Kind is not-for-profit. We are all volunteers.
Black Finger was a really great, brilliant, totally wrong-headed person. Mm-hmm. He imagined that you could get an idiot to paint a great painting if they would only discover the formula. And what you get are great paintings painted by idiots. And also, the separation between the artist and the public in that area is so thin that I don't think there's a difference between the spectator and what they're looking at. It's what they consider art. Fancy that.
Do you think that that could have led to the situation where I think many really feel rather than collecting painting, they can just do it themselves?
Oh, anyone can do it, Jesus. Anyone. It doesn't, you see, it doesn't have to do with talent. It's like a formula thing. Mm-hmm. And I lived very close to it. I wasn't very good at it. You know, it's a shocker. Mm-hmm. But it still plays. I mean, you know.
walking down Warren, is that you're not walking through a physical space, you're walking through a historical space. And I don't mean because there are old buildings. I mean, I've been coming here off and on for 5 years. And I think at least what I always find myself watching is this continuous process of evolution. You can call it gentrification, you can call it whatever you want. But it's almost like the things that appear or disappear, the things that move around, that I'm always looking at. One of the things that's most striking for me, and it's kind of, you run into it moment to moment. You'll be coming down the street, and you have this coexistence of populations here. And the coexistence of populations is very, how can I put it? It's very different than New York. In New York, you can walk down the street and certain groups just don't signify for one another. You're passing through one another almost. And that lack of significance is kind of interesting. I think here, there's a real sense of, how can I put it? Every single moment being marked. So you're constantly being observed here. You have all the various volunteer fire departments, which all produce their own little miniature cultures. Some are husbands and wives, or boyfriends and girlfriends. Some are groups of older men that sit there. They're sitting observing. Whatever their observing fields are seems to completely transform both significance and action here. You can see that even more forcefully with something like the parade. We had a Flag Day parade here the other day, and it was quite stunning to me how intense the territorial charge was there, where one group had taken over and another group almost felt uncomfortable. The gay community here seemed to feel uncomfortable. The black community here people were physically moving with a certain kind of speed and a certain kind of manner and disposition was presented physically that was really striking to me. And so you kind of have this tension of posturing. I mean, I suppose it's true of any place where there's a single promenade, and that's what it is here. And it's kind of interesting, I suppose, because people promenade in different ways. It's kind of a little bit like American graffiti here on the weekends, right? You have the people in their cars. I don't know. I think I expected, and having a shop here, I suppose one feels like one's participating in this. I thought that this would function as a public space in quite a different way than it does.